Welcome to the UFO Woman Show. I'm your host, Melisa Kennedy. And today's guest is a returning guest of mine. It's Kevin Briggs. And very excited to have him on the show tonight because he just came back recently from New York City. And he has some more information to give us about his experiences with his ETs and also what he had happen in New York City. But before we start talking, Kevin, what do you think about our new table? Look at our new set.
Hi, Melissa. I think it's an amazing. I love the design of it, and it reminds me of Star Trek.
It does. It reminds me of Star Trek, too. I love it. I love it. So welcome back.
Well, thank you, Melissa, for inviting me back. I did enjoy speaking last time on your show, and I'm looking forward to today's show.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, in case you missed the first episode with my friend here, Kevin Briggs, we're going to bring you up to speed very quickly and do a little summary about his book and what he had told us in the first episode. And then we're going to take it to current day and bring you up to speed as to what he has learned recently from his trip to New York City. So we know you have this wonderful book. It's called Spiritual Consciousness, A Personal Journey. Can you give us a little summary about what your book is and what it means to your personal story?
Yes, I can. It's my own personal story from the age of 8, really, I suppose, when I was contacted by two higher conscious beings, ETs, whatever you want to call them. I was having a bath and at home, and I felt a change in the vibrational frequency within the bathroom. I looked to my right and two beings appeared, slightly elevated off the floor, both very attractive, long blonde, shoulder-length hair, deep blue eyes, wearing a tight-fitting blue jumpsuit. They were speaking telepathically to one another, which I could understand. And I was frightened to death. It was absolutely frightening me to death. But
well, you were little.
I was only 8, and I wasn't expecting anything like that. I was always attuned to vibrational frequencies around me as a child and was aware of that. But then for two beings to materialize in the bathroom, as I say, it frightened me to death. And that was the beginning of my journey with Orton D, who I still now have contact with to this day.
Great, and that's their names?
That's their names. Ort is the male, D is the female. They are a married couple.
Oh.
We don't tend to think of them as married people, but they are. They tell me they are Arcturians.
Oh, okay.
They tell me they are from Andromeda. And I am part of their extended family, only I live in the 3rd dimension, which is a lower vibrational frequency, and they live in the 5th dimension. So
I wonder what we have to do, Kevin, to get ourselves up to that 5th dimension, because that sounds like a pretty cool place to be.
Yes, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. I'm not quite certain, really. I think they've raised my vibrational frequency slightly, so they're able to come down a little bit, and I'm able to go up a little bit, and we meet in the middle. And there are many modalities of contacts that they have used over the years, which I'm very comfortable with now. So
interesting. Well, I've thought of a question for you since our last meeting, and I don't know if you know the answer, but I'm going to ask it because I think it's kind of a neat thing. Have they ever disclosed to you how long they live?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
300 years, they say.
Wow.
I thought that was quite a short period of time. Now, I am aware of one other. I am now in contact with a group of 8 ET ambassadors, and I know one of them, the lead counsel, Ra, he lives for thousands of years.
Thousands of years. Now, is he part of a different alien race?
He's a different group altogether. He's actually Anunnaki.
Oh, Anunnaki. Okay, that's interesting. I'm Rh negative. My blood type is Rh negative, and there is quite a few speculators and theories out there, including myself, that have traced the bloodline back to the Anunnaki.
Oh, right. Okay.
So that's a personal interest of mine. Okay, so some alien races are living for hundreds of years, perhaps others are thousands of years. What is this council that you're speaking of? Because I know from the last show that you were on, I had several people send me messages and questions, and they weren't sure what the Council of ETs that you're speaking of. Can you maybe dive in a little bit deeper with that?
I can a little bit, yes.
Explain it.
I can give you the information that I understand about them.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Obviously, we've got Orton D, the two Arcturians. They were the first, they're part of this group of 8 ET ambassadors. And then there will be Anna. She's a blue avian type bird. She's a healer. She's an empath. I don't know anything else about her other than I did meet her when I was 14.
Oh, wow.
And she did feel my discomfort when I was introduced to one of the ambassadors, Chica. He's a praying mantis type being. And I was a little bit tall, very tall, yeah. And I was a little perturbed by that, and she came and comforted me and put her arm around me. Next would be Zark. He's a small grey. He's a mathematician. He's an engineer. He designs propulsion systems, he tells me. He also has a family, and he has 3 offsprings. And I know recently, or probably about 12 months ago, I was unable to make direct contact with him, and I wondered why. And he'd had to go back home because he'd had some family issues.
So really, they're like humans.
They're just like us. And then he came
like
back,
us.
and we've now made contact again, and I speak to him fairly regularly. So, and then after that, we would have Ra, who I've just mentioned. He's the lead counsel. He's Anunnaki. His energy is extremely strong, extremely strong.
Is he a tall figure?
He's a tall figure. He looks like an ancient Egyptian. I looked at the...
Interesting.
Very interesting. I looked at different photographs to see if I could find some that looked like the different individuals, and I found one that was very, very close to what he looks like. Yeah.
Okay.
And then after that, we would have Tag. He's a tall grey, and he's from the Pleiades system, I understand. He's responsible for the security, both of the 8 ET ambassadors and the Federation, as it were, as well as this quadrant of our galaxy. And then after that, we would have Chica, who I've mentioned, who is the mantis being. Very intelligent, no sense of humour.
Just straight to the point.
I asked him once if he was an entomologist.
Okay.
As a joke, and he gave me that look, you know.
Yeah, just like, just went over his head.
And then the last one will be Orla. I believe she's an astrobiologist. She's a tall white.
Oh.
Again, very intelligent.
Nordic?
Nordic looking.
Nordic
looking.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Tall, long blonde hair, but her hair is translucent.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
So,
We're going to start a trend. Everybody's going to want the translucent hair.
Those are the 8 ET ambassadors that I've been in contact with for 58 years now.
Wow.
So,
58 years you've been in contact with these ETs.
Yes. Mainly Orton D.
Mainly Orton D, okay.
They're the ones that have guided me and taught me. And the main thread that they have spoken and taught me about is one of consciousness itself.
And that's the basis of your book.
That's the basic of it.
So, is it Ort or Art?
Ort, O-R-T.
O-R-T. All right, and D. Would you describe them maybe as kind of like your guardians? Would that be a nice way to put it?
Yes, I would say so. That we all have our guardian angels. We all have our guardians.
Yeah.
We have our guardian ETs. We, I believe, are extended members of the ETs living in the third dimension.
Okay.
I know all this is probably way out there to most people, but to me, it's normal. And I would have spoken out about it had about 3 years ago, I got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and I got back into bed, and a bright light came in through the bedroom window, lit up the whole bedroom like a myriad of butterflies, just pure white light. And then Orton D materialised at the bottom of the bed. After pleasantries, I asked them what was the reason for their visit, and they said, "We want you to speak about your interactions with us, Kevin. We want you to write a book. We want you to write 2 books. In fact, you will write 2 books." And I remember saying to them, I'm not a writer. I don't mind talking about the book, talking about the interactions we've had. And they said, well, we will continue to guide you, we will continue to teach you, and we will give you information to include in the book, which they did. And
it's a great book.
And the book came, and this is a book here, and that's how the book came into being, shall we say.
Yeah, literally.
Literally. No
and if anybody wants to purchase your book, you can go to kevinjbriggs.com, kevinjbriggs.com. You can purchase the book there. It will be going on Amazon here soon as well. So it's available online. It's also available at some book events that you have coming up. I know you're going to be a guest at UFOCon in Orlando. You'll be signing the books there. And as your publisher, I will make sure that we get your book out there, and you can sign autographed copies and things like that. So that'll be really good. You can also go to bmkpublishingusa.com and find more information about Kevin there as well. But yeah, it's really cool. So the second book you are starting to write?
I do have some pages already for the second book, and I haven't quite decided. I'm waiting to see how the reveal is progressing, and then I've got various notes and things and some pages I've already written, and when the time is right, I'll put it all together and hopefully get another book out there. Although I've been asked to be a contributor to Ray Hernandez's new book, A Greater Reality. And Ray Hernandez is the organizer of the Contact and Conscious Research Institute. And he's bringing all the leading scientists together and some experiences together, and he's asked each one to contribute a chapter. So that there will be another chapter which includes some of the information in the book and some more information, some information about the 8 ET ambassadors. So really it's an ongoing event, really, I suppose, from when Dee materialised in the bedroom and asked me to write the book. There are offshoots.
Do you think? And I've had some other experiencers that I've talked to either on the show or privately, and I think all of this is happening for a reason. I mean, I believe that you were told to do this because you're part of the disclosure process. You're one of the educators. You're here on the UFO Woman show, and that's part of our goal here on the UFO Woman show is to educate and get the word out there to the public. So, you're a voice.
I think I've come to realise that, Melisa. I wasn't aware of that initially, and I did ask them. I said, well, if I start speaking about these things, people won't believe it. It's too far beyond our belief systems. And they said, it doesn't matter, Kevin, whether people believe it or not. All we're asking you to do is speak about your experiences. Mm-hmm. And that's what I have done, and that's what I continue to do. But as I'm doing that, doors are opening for me, and I'm getting more and more of the information out. So perhaps you are correct in what you're saying, yes.
I think you're one of the voices for this whole disclosure process, and to bring everybody up to speed as to what your past credentials are, very, 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 very exciting, because you are a former British police officer. So obviously, what to look for as far as credibility with UFO sightings and ETs and things like that. I mean, your knowledge and your mindset as a police officer would be different than, say, the average Joe on the street, because you're going to be more inquisitive. You're going to look for answers, correct?
That's correct. I would say that, and we were trained to look for evidence. Okay.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I do. When I'm given information either telepathically or in dreams or the other modalities of contact, out-of-body experiences, travelling on the astral plane, if I'm given information on that, then I always ask for confirmation, and that will be the evidence to support what they're telling me, because it's very difficult to explain to someone how you're given a telepathic communication. How do they know that you're getting that? How do I know?
How do I know? I want proof.
So I ask for the evidence,
and
the evidence is I'll ask them to show a craft. On one occasion they showed 7 craft, and that was witnessed by my wife.
Wow.
On another occasion they gave me a download about the theory of everything, which I knew nothing about. And when you receive downloads, and I've had a few now, I'm used to them, but I always ask for confirmation or evidence, and the evidence sometimes is asked for them to turn a light on, turn a light off, to show me a craft. A craft will appear. On that particular occasion, a craft appeared immediately, and it flashed 3 times, once, twice, 3 times.
3 confirmations.
3 confirmations, if you look at it that way, yes. So. So I'm comfortable with the information.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with the modalities of contact because I've learnt them over the years. So yeah, I'm quite excited and looking forward to the year 2020. Things are moving quite quickly now, and I've also been contacted by other experiencers who are confirming and giving me more evidence in relation to the information that they've been given.
And that has to bring you some comfort, right, Kevin?
It does, without a doubt, because I started doing this and I'm out there on my own, as it were.
You're on an island,
on an island,
the Kevin Island.
Talking about these things.
Yeah.
And some people have an understanding of it, and many don't. But the things that I speak about are really outside of our belief systems. And
They are. I mean, we're not brought up thinking that UFOs and ETs are normal. That's stuff on TV shows and movies. But now you grew up in England, where I think that your viewpoint of UFOs and ETs are maybe a little more open than we are here in the United States. Would you agree with that?
I would, growing up as a child, yes. I remember watching all the sci-fi movies we had on the TV. Doctor Who was a big one then.
Oh, it still is.
It still is, isn't it? It's still going.
Right.
And I used to see UFOs on a regular basis. I had a paper round when I was 14. I would walk out of the door and a UFO would appear straight away. It would come from the horizon right above me, and then I would set off on the paper round, and a second UFO would come from the opposite direction, and then the two of them would fly around and follow me around the paper round.
Wow.
And,
so they were following you.
They were following. I did become a little paranoid at one point. But
being a 14-year-old boy,
yeah,
I could see where.
But I got confirmation. I knew they were there, and I've already mentioned that I'm able to feel these higher vibrational frequencies, and I was able to pick up on these frequencies and aware that there were always some other beings, some other entities close by, either behind the hedge, behind the wall, or whatever. And on one occasion, I plucked up courage to ask them to show themselves, and two what we call small greys appeared, and I asked them, and I wasn't frightened, and I asked them what was the reason, why were they here, and they said there was a group of people that wanted to meet with me. Would I go with them? And I said, well, I've got my paper out to finish. I've got to go to school.
Mom wants me to be home in time for school, right?
And they said that they will have you back in time for school. I said, well, I finished my paper round, and off we went, and we went up to a large mothership where I was introduced to the 8 ET ambassadors. And as a child of 14, I didn't realise that then. I thought I was just there as a specimen, as it were, to be shown, paraded in front of these higher conscious beings. Bearing in mind, I've already had contact with Orton D. I've already been able to travel outside of my body. I'm already able to travel on the astral plane. So these are things I'm comfortable with. So it's just another experience in growing up. And no one tells you you can't do that.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So I just went along with it. I was very comfortable with it. And I remember meeting, when we came into the hangar, there was another small grey there, and I know him now, he's a pilot, he's a technician, his name is Tia, and he waved at me, and I thought, I don't know, why is he waving at me? So I waved back.
Hello.
just being polite.
Right.
But then I was led down into this amphitheatre, and I met all 8 of these ET ambassadors.
So the 8 ET ambassadors, would you call it the Council of 8?
The Council of 8 is a good description.
Ambassadors,
yes,
okay. Yeah. And what is their purpose? Do they travel around the galaxies for peace, or what? Did you ever figure out what? I
didn't actually ask them that question. I know the purpose, the reason why they are here. They do represent this, they say, the quadrant of this galaxy, and we're part of that. So they're wanting to, I don't know how many planets within our galaxy are habited. I'm sure there are many of the other galaxies that are planets that are habited.
So I mean, I have to think it's peaceful.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. Oh, yes.
Because otherwise, we probably wouldn't be sitting here.
No, without a doubt.
Right.
And they wouldn't have asked me to speak out about it. They want to assist us in our evolution, in our development. They want to assist us with our technologies. They tell me they are concerned about the pollution on the planet.
Oh, so am I.
And they're concerned about the nuclear weapons, the nuclear plants we have, and the nuclear pollution that we currently have. They've specifically mentioned Fukushima.
Oh,
in relation,
they actually mentioned that.
They mentioned that, and they were concerned about the pollution that's continuing to go into the Pacific Ocean. So
yes.
Hopefully...
which I did see in the news, and I think it was yesterday or the day before, that they are looking at dumping some of that into the Pacific Ocean, and that's really scary.
Yeah, it is scary.
Hopefully they change their mind.
Well, they tell me they have technologies that will be able to neutralize the radiation.
I hope so.
Both at Fukushima and at, within the Pacific Ocean. But first we need to make contact with them in relation to be able to share those technologies.
So, okay, when you say make contact, our government or us as the general public? Who?
Right,
what
okay.
Do you
well,
think?
You mentioned this February the 1st, the weekend.
Yes.
And I've... part of my mission, is, they tell me, is to help facilitate the reveal. And I thought the reveal was to reveal themselves to the United Nations, to our government representatives. And that is part of the reveal. That's part of the process.
They're kind of like the United Nations in a way.
In a way, yes.
In a galactic sense.
Yes, in the galactic sense. And they want us to become part of that, to become a member. As we do here. No different from government.
Where do I sign up? I want to be a member.
Count me
Do they have a website?
Count me in.
I want to be a member.
So hopefully, I've come to realise now that the reveal has its stages. It's a process. And the governments already know that they are here. They know that
of course.
They're interacting with groups, they're interacting with individuals. And so really I thought it was just for the government, but it's not. I've come to realise now the reveal is a process. It's happening now. It's happening around us. They are showing more mass sightings. They are contacting more individuals with downloads and things like that.
Yes. And you and I are meeting some of these individuals.
Yes. Yes.
And it's not a coincidence.
No.
It's synchronicities here, guys. I mean, Kevin came into my life because of UFOCon, and I have had numerous other people come into my life and realize that we have commonalities among our experiences, our thought processes, and basically our life path is kind of the same.
Yes.
We're all here to bring knowledge and to help with this reveal process. Unfortunately, we did not have the big UFO sighting like we thought we would have this past weekend, February 1st and 2nd, 2 weekends ago. But, and I mentioned this a couple of times, we did have quite a lot of Super Bowl commercials.
We did. I noticed that. I watched that in New York. Yeah.
Right?
It just stood out. It stood out. I mean, is that a coincidence?
I counted 6.
Did you really?
And there may have been more. I may have missed one or two. But, I mean, I think this is all part of this soft disclosure.
Yes.
Disclosure with a little D.
Yes.
And I like the fact that maybe it's going to open up a conversation with somebody at the water cooler, at the office.
Where you can talk about it now openly and not be ridiculed or be thought of as a member of the Tin Hat Brigade.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't wear a tin hat. Neither do you.
I know.
So, it's really coming out more and more. I do think that we as educators have to continue our mission and get the good information out there because there's a lot of fake stuff.
Oh, I'm sure.
We know that. Yeah. And there's a lot of stuff that's misconstrued and, but anyway, I think it's a good life path for us to be on to bring that into the light. You're having direct contact yourself, and I think that's fantastic. So they didn't have the mass sighting, but you do believe, or you do have some information to share?
The weekend was very positive.
Okay.
I didn't get the mass sighting that I was expecting, although they told me there would be a mass sighting in New York, but I had my own personal mass sighting in New York in August when I went up there for a short vacation with my wife. And I'd been reading a post by Dr. Joseph Briggs, and he's on the board of the Contact and Consciousness Research Institute, and he'd posted about how experiencers like myself had had a shared dream where large craft had appeared over major cities globally on the same day.
Oh, wow.
I'd had that dream 3 times in my life.
Really?
And each time I woke up, I was disappointed it was a dream. However, dreams are a modality of contact that they use using consciousness itself.
Right.
So I then put the phone down, and we were in Manhattan. I looked out of the window, and 15 UFO craft appeared.
This
No,
past...
no,
this
in
was
August.
In August, okay.
And they formed a pattern, they disappeared, they reappeared, and formed another pattern.
Wow.
So that, to me, was twofold. One, I thought then it was going to be a precursor to the reveal on February the 1st,
yeah.
my own personal reveal first, and then, although I don't need it, and then it was confirmation of Dr. Joseph Burke's post, and I did let him know about that. So, but they do, as you said, they do connect with one another, or connect with each other, and we're all being connected now, all the experiences.
We really are. Yeah.
And February the 1st was quite interesting because when they gave me that date last year, again, they woke me up and gave me all the information. And but since then, I had another experiencer who's an experiencer from the age of 4. He's now my age, and he contacted me by telephone, and he said he'd been given February the 1st as well by his ET guides.
Oh.
So that was amazing.
So I'm wondering if maybe something happened behind the scenes
Possibly.
that we're not aware of.
I had another confirmation from, not specifically to me, but Dr. Stephen Greer requested a global CE5 for February the 1st.
Yes,
Again,
we even had one at my house. Several people that come to my Books A Million events, we gathered together and we did, but the weather didn't cooperate. It was rainy and windy and cloudy that night, and so we didn't get to see anything, but
so then we've got 3
neat.
things there relating to February the 1st. And then we had Dean Caparella.
Yes.
Aliens Revealed Online Live
And we were
Summit.
both
we were
on
both
it.
in that. Yeah,
So
that's amazing.
that was
But
cool.
he was scheduled to air that on January the 17th, 18th and 19th.
Right, that was the original.
But it was delayed.
Yes.
And what date was it delayed to? The 31st,
February
the 1st,
1st,
the February,
and
and the 2nd.
Right.
So again, we've then got 4 items all coming together for February the 1st.
Yes.
No coincidence, I don't think.
Absolutely
no coincidence
not.
whatsoever.
Absolutely not.
And then the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
on February the 2nd. With all
know.
the ETs. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, could you?
Can't.
You can't make it up, no.
I couldn't believe it. I
No.
had no idea that there was going to be that many commercials that were ET and UFO related. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
So, we're about midway through the show. You up for a game? You want to play a little fun game?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to play Melisa's Spaced Out Shouts. And the object of this game is I'm going to ask you a question, and whatever comes to mind first is what you shout out.
Okay.
Okay? You ready?
Yeah.
All right. What 3 things would you take to Mars?
Oh, my wife, my 2 dogs.
Good answer. She'll be happy that you included her in that. All right. What's your strangest fear about aliens? Of course, you've had a lot of contact.
I have, yes. I don't really have any fear of them. I respect them, and I know there are some that are malevolent, but I don't have any fears, no.
Very good. Very good. Well, that's because you've had experiences, I think. All right. So who would your dream guest star, dead or alive, be on your trip to outer space?
My dream gets down. Oh, dear. Leonard Nimoy, I think.
Yes?
Yes.
Very cool. As we kind of look at this Star Trek looking table. All right. If you could be a planet, which planet would you be?
Jupiter.
Jupiter. Why? Why Jupiter?
It's a big planet.
It's a big It is a big, big planet. All right, cool. What's your favorite space-related word?
Oh.
I'll tell you mine. Maybe that'll help you. I like galactic. I love that word.
I was going to say, beam me up, Scotty.
Beam me up, Scotty.
But that's more than one word.
That's
isn't it?
okay. We'll quote. How about that? That could be a quote. Do you like that one? Okay, that's cool. I think you watched a lot of Star Trek.
I did, yeah, and I still do, yeah.
Do you like the original series?
Yeah, I've watched them all. Yeah,
I know, right?
It's just so, and you find a lot of the things have come true now.
I know.
I remember the flip phones that that Scotty used to use.
And now you look at the original shows and the computers.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they're a joke.
But even we had the iPads before we had the iPads, and it's just amazing.
It really is.
It's a reflection of
science fiction becoming science fact.
Yeah.
So, all right, back to the game. Would you rather be stranded on the moon with an alien or with Tom Hanks?
An alien.
Oh, goodness. All right. What would be the first question you ask that alien?
Where are you from?
Where are you from? Okay. There's so many places they could be from.
So many places, yes.
All right. Would you rather know who shot JFK or if the government was hiding UFOs and aliens in Area 51?
If the government were hiding UFOs and aliens in Area 51.
Yeah. Well, do you ever watch the History Channel
Yes, I watch
show,
all the time.
Project
Yes,
Blue
I'm
Book?
quite normal.
I know, right?
I watch all the information, all the channels, all the other things, you know.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Well, the episode that they just had this past week was amazing about the whole Area 51 and
Okay,
how
I
it
didn't
came
see that
about.
one.
Oh, you have to watch it. It's really good. All right. If you could time travel, like otherworldly beings, where would you go? Now, I know you've actually done some astral plane things, but if you could literally travel to anywhere, where would you go?
I'd like to go to our future in 1,000 years' time.
1,000 years' time. What do you think it'll look like?
Totally different.
Yeah?
Hopefully, it'll be like the ETs, how they live.
I'm hoping it's going to be very utopian.
Yes, yes.
You know?
I think it will. I think we have a bright future ahead of us. There will be some ups and downs and some ripples, as it were. But yes, I think we have a bright future.
Well, as long as we continue to raise our vibrational frequency and we continue to put the planet Earth as a top priority, hopefully we'll get through this phase right now, because I really feel like right now we are in a critical point in our time that it can either go really well or it can go really wrong. And depending on what answers and what choices we make, it's going to impact everything in the future.
I'm sure it is. But I think our governments are opening up now to the possibility. Well, they know they're here anyway.
Right.
And I believe we're having a soft disclosure from our governments. And I'm sure our governments will be divided. There'll be 50% that want to do it and 50% that don't want to do it.
Exactly.
So we have to work with the 50% that do. And there are many working towards this already.
Right. Well, we have a Space Force now.
We do, yes.
So that's kind of a big deal.
Yes, that's moving further forward, isn't it?
It is.
And as we move further out into space, we need to curb our abilities to wanting to start wars, our own tribal wars. We don't need to take those into space. We need to be more discerning in how we treat other people, because we're going to meet the other species and we need to treat them with respect.
Yeah. And that leads me to my last question. What type of extraterrestrial being race would you most like to be? The Greys, reptilians, Nordics?
An Arcturian.
Arcturian, okay.
Yeah, because the two that I've seen, they're just so attractive. They're just like models. They're just and if they're all like that.
They're tall?
Tall, yeah, 6 foot. Long blonde shoulder length hair, these deep blue eyes.
Oh, wow.
And a feeling of love emanates from them. And they're just
peaceful.
Just peaceful, warm, loving beings, yeah. Yeah.
Very nice.
So, yeah.
But highly intellectual.
Highly intellectual. And their technologies far exceed anything we can imagine, really. So, yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So they're helping us. They're helping us.
They're helping us. They're here to help us. Well, on the subject of playing games, I do want to bring attention to what I have here on our table. And this is a company called UFO Tops. And they sent us some really cute, they're like little toys, they're little metal spinning tops. And they have some that represent different UFO crash sites. For example, the one that I have out of the package is from Roswell. And it has little cards, like little trading cards, that talks about the crash. So they're really cool little collectible things. They have the Rendlesham Forest crash. They have several here to choose from, and you can go on Amazon and find these, and you can also go to their website. It's called UFOtops.com, and really cute little things to collect and to give as gifts if you are a UFO enthusiast or you have a friend who is. I think this would be a really cool thing to add to your collection of UFO memorabilia. So wanted to give a shout out to them. Thank you again for sending us these, and hopefully people will check them out and get some for themselves. But anyway, back to your book. The last part of the show, I want to talk about, what do you foresee in your next book? Is there anything that you haven't told us yet that would maybe go into that next book? And what do you got going on? What do you think is going to happen the rest of this year?
No, I think I'm fairly up to date with the information that I've been given. I'm as I mentioned earlier, I now realise that the reveal is not one event. It's not for the government, it's for the people. Yeah. And the reveal will come through the people. I'm being contacted now by many people, and I'm surprised at the amount of groups that are out there. I spoke with one group yesterday, and they have 41,000 members, all interested in this subject.
Wow.
I have no contact with them, but I will have now. And another group I contacted, and they had 15,000 members. So there are groups out there. Some of them are spiritual groups. Mm-hmm. But there's a large percentage of our population who have an understanding of cosmology, shall we say,
right.
An understanding that we are not alone.
And I think a lot of people are just curious about this.
I'm sure.
We're all hungry for information because we are lacking so much in this culture, in the American culture, for information. I watched a really interesting episode on Chile and how their culture is different from ours, and their government treats UFO disclosure completely different. Yeah. They're way more open. They want their citizens to actually disclose if they've seen something. They want you to share it. They're not ridiculed and demonized for doing so. They're not brainwashed into thinking that they're crazy. It's just a whole different mindset, and I really wish that our country would get to that point. I really do.
I think Brazil are the same.
Brazil is the same way.
I remember watching a video on YouTube where the Brazilian Air Force was returning from a sortie, and they'd left the infrared cameras on the back of the plane. I don't know if you've seen this particular
I
one.
have.
And they picked up about 10, 15 UFOs.
Yes.
Now, you asked me last time I was on your show, what did the UFOs look like that I saw? Mm-hmm. They were just like that.
Were they?
Exactly the same. That's the description I was trying to make. But the government put it out there publicly.
Yeah.
They allowed them to interview the pilots and the crew of the plane.
No hidden
agenda.
Cover up or agendas. There was nothing that they were trying to bury into a whole bunch of files or call it something weird, to where nobody would find it. It's just a whole different mindset, and I really wish in this country we would get to that point where we say, you know what? We want the American people to know exactly what's going on. We want disclosure, and no more of this, military cover-up, government cover-ups, and bury the truth. Let's get it out there, and I think it's going to come from people like us, the public.
Exactly, from the public, by talking about it openly. All the evidence is out there. It's being collected. It's being put out there, but it doesn't get into the mainstream media. No. So we have to make our own mainstream media.
Yes, we do.
We have to make our UFO shows to get the information out there. So.
Well, I still can't believe September of 2019, just a few months ago, was a huge announcement with the formal acknowledgement that UFOs are real by the United States Navy. That was huge. Yeah. That should have been on every single TV station, every single newspaper, everywhere. It wasn't.
It wasn't, no.
It was very much kind of a backstory. Now, Fox News did a pretty good job. I think CNN also touched on it. But it really should have been on every single channel.
But at least they did put it out there.
At least they put it out there. Kudos to them for at least doing that.
The Pentagon did release the video from the gun camera.
Yeah.
So I say there are those that want full disclosure.
Right.
It's got to be done slowly. but the reveal will come, it is a process,
Yeah.
it will come through the people, and they will continue to show more craft, mass sightings, and continue to contact individuals.
Right,
So,
and we got to get past the whole propaganda media. We got to get past all of the fake news, if you will, and really start to get to the bottom of all of this. I love what Brazil's doing. I love what Chile's doing. I really would like to see us follow suit.
I think the UK government are releasing
Yes,
some papers.
they
I read
are. Nick
yesterday,
Pope
yes.
last week
Right.
on my show revealed that, yes, they are going to be disclosing more files. So, wow, can't wait to hear about that. He will be at UFOCon with some very good information that has not been released. So you definitely want to get tickets to UFOCon. That's at theufocon.com. So you definitely want to come and listen to Nick Pope. We also have several other very big names in the UFO community and paranormal community. We've got Grant Wilson from Ghost Hunters coming. We have, of course, Nick Pope. We have William Henry. We have David Hatcher Childress. We have Stephen Bassett, who is in Washington, D.C. He has tons of information. We have Dave Spinks coming back. We have a lot of really good people. We have our BMK publishing authors like Kevin here that's going to be there with their information and their books to share. So it's going to be really cool. Also, Nerd Talk's going to be there from here on WeBeam TV, and we're going to have a really good weekend. That's April 11th and 12th. But I'm hoping that, through media, through all of us in the UFO community, we continue our journey to open up conversation.
I would agree. I know within the UFO community, everybody is aware, everybody shares all the information.
We do,
what
don't
we
we?
need to do is get the information out to the general public
Right.
who are not aware. I found with some of my friends now, they're asking me questions, they're becoming interested in the subject, and will openly talk about it and openly ask me a question, which I find very promising, really, because if my friends are doing that, then other people were doing it. So
Exactly.
the more we speak out, the more it becomes the norm, and we're able to get that message out there. And then once we do that, and once the fear is
Kind of erased.
removed from
Yeah.
people's minds in relation to the ETs, then we'll be able to move forward. And they are here to assist. They are here to help. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I've done everything they've wanted me to do now, so I'm up to date.
Yeah.
So unless they ask me to do something else, I will just continue talking about my interactions, and we'll see what transpires.
I agree. And, as far as people coming out of the woodwork, so to speak, as you mentioned, I myself am actually having that. I'm having people that I haven't spoke to in 25 and 30 years that I'm like friends with on Facebook or whatnot, and they come out with a message to me that, hey, I see you're involved with UFOs. I've never told anybody this, but and they start to share their story with me now.
Yes.
And I'm like, what?
Yes.
That, people that were in my hometown that lived on my street, I've actually talked to them about some common experiences and experiences I didn't even know existed, but they're starting to become more and more comfortable, and they're coming to people like myself and you that, maybe before they weren't ready to.
I have an example of a gentleman from England, and he contacted me. He's my age. He's had very similar experiences all his life.
Oh, my goodness.
And he said he saw me on an interview, I can't remember which interview it was, and then he bought the book and he read the book. And he says it's just lifted a weight off his shoulders to know that he's not delusional, he's not imagining these things,
Right.
because everything in the book supported what he's had happen
Really?
to him.
Wow.
That's just tremendous, really. And I think that's
is.
why they asked me to speak out, because, I wouldn't have spoken out about it.
And you're opening doors for others.
Opening doors for others, yes, to speak out about it.
You're a vehicle,
And then,
really
so
and truly.
through that, we're raising our consciousness, our shared consciousness.
Right.
And that's one of the keys. That's what they're wanting us to do, to have an understanding of consciousness itself in relation to our planet.
Our planet, right. The
to
galaxy.
The galaxy, to the different species.
So you think they're waiting for us to reach a certain level of consciousness before a really big reveal would happen?
Well, they've already told
possibly?
me we've reached that tipping point now.
We're at a tipping
so we're
point,
at the
yes.
tipping point. So we've reached that level of consciousness globally. as
Okay.
a species. So now it's really just working towards the continued reveal, really. People talking about it, interviews like this, you getting the message out there. Your UFOCon conference in Orlando, your last conference was very successful.
Thank
you. That will continue. People are interested. People want information.
They want facts. They want
It's
information.
been hidden from them, probably for security reasons, for safety reasons. The government's tried to do their best for us, but
Yeah.
sometimes
Times are changing.
Sometimes they don't make the best decisions. But
Yeah.
I'm sure there are many politicians who currently want to speak out about the
Yes.
UFOs, about the ETs, and they're not able to. I
Right.
saw recently that, what's his name? Major Salas. He was the commander of the wing of the nuclear weapons in Montana when they were disabled by a UFO. And he's now speaking out about it, and he's now running for Congress, I saw yesterday.
Oh, wow.
I mean, with the UFO as his mandate, as it were.
Wow.
I mean, that's just amazing.
Well, and that brings me to one of my former guests, and that was Alex Torme, and he is actually running. He's a politician that's running, and his platform is very much with UFO disclosure. So I think there's change happening. I
without
think
a doubt.
I think this new election year, with a lot of people starting to come out and using UFOs as a platform to talk about, it's a good thing. I just don't know. I don't know. For me, the jury's still out. I just don't know how much disclosure they're actually going to be able to do. I hope they can do everything. That would be fantastic. But I just wonder how much of your hands get tied once you get into office, because we've had a lot of that in the past.
Oh,
let's face it.
I'm sure.
We've had people
yeah.
say, "Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to disclosure," and then once they get in, nothing ever happens.
No.
So is it that politicians' fault, or is it because they're being, kind of restrained?
It's a system we have.
Yeah.
And we have to change that from the people's side, or create our own system, our own information out there.
Yes.
No
Censorship. That's what I love about us here at We Beam TV.
If the media
So-
won't give out the information, let's form our own media. Let's put the
Yes.
information out there.
And that's what we're doing right here.
I remember watching the Disclosure Project many years ago by Dr. Stephen Greer, and all the speakers there over, I think, a 3-day period in front of a committee, the level of commitment for those, a lot of them were military people
Yes.
who got information, and all that's out there, that needs to be brought out again. So
Right.
if your viewers are not aware of that, they should go onto Google or go onto YouTube and Google the Disclosure Project.
Yeah, a
and
lot
all
of the
information
retired
is
guys
there.
are coming out now,
Yes,
aren't they?
yes, yeah.
Of course, I realize that they're under oath and stuff like that up until a certain point, but then they reach a point where they can actually start to talk about it, and that's what they call deathbed confessions, if you will. And that's we need that too. I mean, we need military officials. That's what I love about you. Your credentials as a police officer is just fantastic. We need more credentialed witnesses to come out, because that's what's going to help get this disclosure process further along. Credentialed eyewitnesses that are experiencers is what we need.
I think that's the key. The experiences, it's a new term for most people, and most people won't understand the experiences are here to assist with the transition, with the reveal, with the disclosure. And many of us, I know several now, that have direct contact with the group of 8, the 8 ET ambassadors. They've contacted me, and I've got confirmation that they are in contact with them. So that in itself is amazing.
I would love to know how many people they've contacted or downloaded.
Well, I've got it
information.
down to 7 at the moment.
Okay.
And they haven't. My understanding is, I know one lady's had contact with 2, another lady had contact with Ra, and some of the others. But I haven't found anybody yet that's had direct contact with all 8. But I say at least 6 or 7 have got contact with the same ET ambassadors that I have, and I think that's absolutely amazing. So
I wonder if these ambassadors, if they are orbiting Earth.
they're here in our solar system. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, they're here all the time.
Wow.
Yes.
That's really cool. Well, speaking of orbiting, last night I actually walked outside my house and looked up in the sky and saw the launch of the rocket that was actually going to be going around the sun.
What time was that?
It was oh gosh, 9
Oh, is it?
or
Okay.
so. I mean, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact time because I was flipping through and I came to Bay News 9 and saw that it was live. I was like, oh, I ran outside and I saw that with my own eyes. That was kind of neat. But, you know, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot going on, but yet there's not enough going on. I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword because, you know, I feel like we need to push the envelope even more. But then I also know that there's a group of the public that's not ready for that. They're still back in just the commercial mode of, oh, that's cute. That's a cute look at that little alien. That's cute. You know, they don't have all the knowledge that you and I have. They don't have the experience and the background. So it's kind of a it's a double-edged sword because, you know, we're ready for way, way, way more, but yet you've got a large group of people that just they would scare them, I think.
Possibly, yes. Some people are scared. They're scared of the unknown.
Right.
To us, to me, it's normal to me, but I can appreciate that people are scared. Yes, I can. Yeah.
Speaking of which, did you see that the Vatican is actually coming out with a conference?
I did.
Yeah, that
I did, yeah.
That's real interesting.
Well, I think they've known for many, probably hundreds, maybe even thousands of years. I don't know how long the Vatican's been going. But,
they know way more than they let on.
They've just kept
and
the
I think they are saving face, and I think they're at a point where they know that they're going to have to come out with something, because you know the general public is getting more and more educated and more intelligent when it comes to this stuff with ETs and UFOs, and at some point you have to be like, well, you know, yeah, the lid's been open, so yeah, we kind of need to, you know, come out and say something.
but I think that's why the government have released that, what they call the tic-tac-toe video.
Yeah,
because of that. And then you've got Lou
the
Ellis
tic-tac video was kind of cool, though.
It was, yeah.
You know, that was really neat.
Yeah.
And if you're new to the UFO community, if you're just starting your journey into learning more about UFOs, just know this. There are lots of different types of UFO craft, okay? It's not only the flying saucer that we've seen in, you know, TV shows and things like that. There's a lot of different crafts and lots of different extraterrestrials or otherworldly beings that are interdimensional, that are different races. And so it's really no different than here on Earth. I mean, we have lots of different animals in the animal kingdom, right?
Exactly, yeah.
We have lots of different transportation vehicles. We have trains, we have planes, we have cars, we have all these other things. So if you start to open your mind and look at things in that regard, for me, I think it's a little less scary because, you know, you realize that, my gosh, we are not alone in this galaxy. Thank heavens, because, you know, that could be kind of lonely. I think it's neat.
And I think if you look at them, that they have families.
Yes.
You said they have modes of transport that are different to ours.
I didn't know the whole, you know, the whole thing that you revealed today about, you know, that they were married, and that's kind of neat.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Yes, and they've got families and they've got offspring, and they
I love that.
You know, Zark had to travel back home because he had some issues, some health issues with his three offspring.
Oh gosh.
So
hopefully they're okay.
Yes, they're fine now, and he's back over here again. So
okay.
Yeah, it's just once we realise that they're just like me and you, and they look like me and you.
Wow.
You know, it's only the other ones like Zark, who's a small grey, and Tag, who's a tall grey, and Cheeky, he's the scariest one. But you know, it's only like our insects are scary to us if you enlarge them.
Yeah, they are actually. Have you ever looked at a fly?
Yeah, they're ugly, aren't they?
Yeah, they are kind of weird looking. Well, that's interesting. So then that really kind of opens the door to the big question: is, are we descendants of them?
Well, I think we are.
I do too.
think possibly they populate the universe by seeding the planets.
Right.
They may even change our DNA. We have the ability to change DNA now.
We do.
We have the ability to clone one another.
It's not that far-fetched.
So it's not that far-fetched. And I know that we have alien DNA in our DNA.
Yes, we do.
Our scientists are not allowed to speak about it at the moment. But they will in the future. So yes, I suspect that we are seeded on different planets, as we would do. They're already
Absolutely.
talking about going to Mars.
We are, and plans are already in effect, and programs are already in effect. So who's to say that we're not going to go to Mars and terraform that planet so that it's livable for our species? And hello, there we go. We're now alien. We're the aliens.
Yeah, exactly, yes. But we still have family back home.
Yes.
We still have the mode of transports and things.
Yes.
We have technologies far outreaching anybody that's currently on Mars.
So they're alien astronauts.
Yes. And they may even alter the DNA to enhance them to be astronauts. They
Right.
have the abilities to do that now, so we do.
Well,
So
when you think about time that would take to travel from different universes and all that, your DNA is probably going to at least be affected in some regard. I'm certainly not a scientist by any means, but it stands to reason that your body's going to go through so much force and things like that traveling through space. So I kind of get that. There's different alien species that come from different environments, different planets, and things like that. And it's really interesting to me when you talked about the praying mantis type alien. Then you have to wonder, so are all of the aliens that are here, were they, the insects and the animals, were they once aliens? I don't know.
well, maybe.
Kind of makes you wonder.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Doesn't it?
And like you say, once we develop further and we travel outside of our solar system, outside of our galaxy,
Right.
we then become the aliens.
Yes, we do.
And but we, as I say, we go back to, we've still got a family at home from
Right.
where we originated, or perhaps if you've been out in space for many hundreds of years, possibly, then
Okay.
your families are deceased back on
Right,
your home
right.
planet. But
Well, I love all your stories, Kevin. I mean, you and I could talk for hours, but I do appreciate you coming back on the show. Love your book. Check it out. If you haven't already bought a copy, make sure you see it. And then come to UFOCon. You can meet Kevin in person and see his book, and as well as all the other experts in the field of ufology and also the paranormal. But, until next time, I hope that, I can see you again and get you back on the show. I'm your host, Melisa Kennedy, and until next week, I want all of you to keep looking up, and if you want some more information about UFOCon, please go to theufocon.com. If you want some more information about Kevin, you can go to his website at kevinjbriggs.com. So I'm your host, Melisa Kennedy. Thank you for watching the UFO Woman Show.